and welcome to another Clean and Sober Stoner review. You know, a couple of months ago, the Italian band Mystic Majesty did the impossible, the improbable, the totally unexpected. They released a concept album that isn't boring. I think it's kind of unique in its ability to convey concepts, sometimes complicated, in songs that average under 3 minutes in length. The average length of songs on this album is 3 minutes or less. The longest, as it should be, is the last song, Confessions of a Restless Mind, which weighs in at a whopping 4:47, which isn't even an intro on most of the music I listen to. It also delivers a solid punch to the gut if you follow along with the narrative. What is the narrative? Well, it's the human mind. Not usually the kind of topic I expect in an expertly crafted rock album with dozens of bouncy, clever hooks among dozens of tasty guitar parts and a tight as tripwire rhythm section. Seriously, the bass playing and the drumming on this is pretty exceptional. The thing is, you don't have to geek out on the album or grab a thesaurus in order to get the whole album. Usually, albums dealing with heavy topics and kind of concept, they're overburdened with complex musical passages. Musicians on masterworks usually want to put the spotlight on how magnificent they are. Mystic Majesty takes the opposite approach, which I guess does make the band name a little bit ironic now that I think about it. They've taken a seriously heavy, a red pen, and done a lot of editing, a lot of cutting, trimming things down to where it makes the most sense and has the most impact. These are not long-form riffs cobbled together for epic massiveness, but finely honed, complete songs that deliver either maximum experience or just a fucking good time. It's your choice. And whether you listen and pay attention to the depth of it, or you just put it in your car for an end road trip, this is probably going to be the album for you. I think that's the only flaw that I see with Speak Your Mind. It delivers the goods with kind of a velvet-wrapped jewelry hammer, and not a ball. An audience that's kind of craving earth-shattering bombast may have missed this stoner gem. In the end, it kind of reminds me a lot of late 70s Robert Fripp with the album Exposure, and a lot of Bowie stuff where he's doing concept albums, but the songs are really short. It reminds me of this mostly because both of those artists have the ability to craft short songs with precise intention. The only problem is sometimes that's not what the stoner doom community is looking for. In the case of Speak Your Mind, I really recommend you give this a serious listen. It's the perfect complement for heavier appetites who need a break. But I gotta warn you, once you dig in and follow the lyrics, this might be one of the heaviest albums of the year. I can also say that personally, I keep going back to this album over and over, a lot more than I did 3 months ago when I got a pre-release copy of it. I do think it's going to grow on more and more people as the year progresses. And if it doesn't, then it's probably going to be one of those gems that goes rediscovered years later. You know, kind of like the whole Pentagram catalog where nobody gave a shit about Pentagram. Nobody bought their stuff. And then 20, 30 years later, now there are these undiscovered things that everybody talks about. Also like Bowie, I keep going back to Bowie. A lot of his earlier stuff that was kind of ignored, all of a sudden it's a big deal. So that's what I think about Mystic Majesty and their latest album, Speak Your Mind. It's a great album. It's a good rock album. I think if you're a fan of the Queens of the Stone Age and you kind of wish somebody else would pick up the mantle and do some high energy rock that really gets you grooving and gets you thinking at the same time, I think this could be an album for you. So be sure to look up Mystic Majesty. They're on Bandcamp. I will have the link down below. And as always, if you like this review at all, give me a like and a subscribe so I can grow the channel. And hopefully get more content on, especially more interviews. I have a bunch of good interviews coming up. So that's a wrap for this time. Hope you enjoyed it. and see you next time on Clean and Sober Stoner.